Well, family, today we're going to continue our study in Matthew chapter 20. And let's go ahead and bring up the scripts, Aki. We're gonna continue our study today in Matthew chapter 20, and we're gonna pick up in verse 29. And you all know how I like to do it. I like to just give you something that I've been meditating on in the passage that I've been studying out. And I like to show you what the Most High has shown me. If it's all right that I study with my people and I show you something that the Most High has shown me that I've been meditating on throughout the week, throw a hallelujah in the chat. If it's all right with you, if we just study amongst one another, just like the Bereans, if we could just study amongst one another, if that's all right with you, put a hallelujah in the chat. All right, I see the hallelujahs rolling. So, family, I'm not going to belabor the point. We're going to look at Matthew chapter 20. We're going to pick up at verse 29. Um, and I'm going to share some key points. I'm going to share some key points and some things that the Most High brought to my understanding while I was studying this chapter out. So in Matthew chapter 20, verse 29, it says, "And as they departed from Jericho, a great multitude followed him." Now, Aki, I need you to go ahead and highlight that first. I need you to highlight a great multitude. Now, family, what I need you all to do is I need you to hold that for a second because we're going to come back to it. But before we move forward, wrap your mind around the fact that a great multitude followed him. And it's speaking about Yahushua. Verse 30, it says, "And behold, two blind men sitteth by the wayside." There were two blind men. Matthew says that there were two blind men that sitteth where? Put it in the chat. Where were they sitting? They were sitting by the wayside. And it says, when they heard that Yahusha passed by, they cried out, saying, "Have mercy on us, O Master, thou son of David." And the multitude rebuked them because they should hold their peace. But they cried the more, saying, "Have mercy on us, O Master, thou son of David." And Yahusha stood still and called them and said, "What will ye that I shall do unto you?" Now, there's a couple of things that I want you to hold on to, and we're going to drill down into them in just a second. But I want you to hold on to the fact that there was a multitude around Yahusha. So when it says that there was a multitude, this is not just including his disciples. There was an excess of people that were surrounding him. There was a multitude. And they come across two blind men, and it says that these two blind men were sitting by the wayside. Now, when they cried out to Mashiach, he said, "What will ye that I shall do unto you?" Now, notice he didn't just walk to him. He didn't just walk to him, okay? When they cried out to him, he's saying, "Hey, look, what is it that you want me to do?" He didn't just walk up to him and automatically heal them. Verse 33, it says, "They said unto him, Master, that our eyes may be open." So Yahusha had compassion on them and touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him. And we're going to look at some other accounts of this passage here, family. But the premise of this study today is going to be revolving around Matthew chapter 20, verses 29 through 34. So my first point being that there was a great multitude surrounding Mashiach. There was a great number of people who were surrounding Mashiach and the disciples. And so much so that it caught the attention of the blind men who sat by the wayside. Now, that word wayside, family, is a pathway that's heavily traveled. Is what we would call today a highway. It's where a lot of traffic is going to and from. Okay. Now, put it in the chat. What do you think these blind men were doing sitting beside this heavily traveled path? What do y'all think that they were doing sitting beside this heavily traveled path of this highway? What were they doing sitting by the wayside. What y'all think that they were doing? What are we there? There it is. There it is. I see looking for help. I see begging. What do we normally see where there's people standing by the wayside of heavily trafficked intersection or highways? What is it that we see? And I see it rolling in the chat. They were begging. That's right. They were begging. Go to Mark chapter 10, Aki, and pick up at verse 46. And this is the same account just written in the book of Mark. But there's something that's in the book of Mark that we don't see in the book of Matthew. And in verse 46, it says, and they came to Jericho. And as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. So we know exactly what they were doing. They were by the wayside, or they were on the highway side begging. Now, you don't have to go there, Aki, but back in Matthew chapter 20, Matthew speaks about two blind men. But in Mark's account, he speaks of a certain blind man, and he gives us his name, and his name is Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus. Now, although Matthew does speak of two blind men, today I want to focus on Bartimaeus. I want to focus on Bartimaeus today. Okay. Now, Bartimaeus, it says, is the son of Timaeus, and the word bar simply means son. And so Bartimaeus means son of Timaeus. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Bartimaeus in just a moment. But it said that Bartimaeus was sitting where? Let's see who's rolling with me. Where was Bartimaeus sitting? Somebody put it in the chat. Where was Bartimaeus sitting according to the text? That's right. That's right. He was sitting by the wayside. He was sitting by the wayside. And what was Bartimaeus doing? He was begging. That's right. You know, Bartimaeus, I can imagine that Bartimaeus had it rough. Bartimaeus had it rough. And so he was by the wayside and he was begging. We know that Bartimaeus was a blind man. Now, make a note of this. When you are begging, or when someone is begging, they are willing to receive whatever it is that the world, people have to offer them. Okay. I'm sure that Bartimaeus probably even had a few coins that he had stacked up from begging by the wayside. But it was just one thing. It was one thing. It was one thing that all of those people that gave to Bartimaeus by the wayside couldn't give him. What y'all think that was? It was just one thing. They gave him clothes. They were willing to give him food. He was out. He was begging for money. But there was one thing that Bartimaeus couldn't get, no matter how hard he begged for it. That's right. That's right. He couldn't get his sight. And so no matter how much of a strategic move it was for Bartimaeus, there were only, here's one of my key points. He was only able to receive that of the physical from begging by the wayside, from being given things or given physical things from people through his begging by the wayside. He could only attain what the world had to offer him. But when it came to his healing, he couldn't get that by the wayside. He couldn't get it by the wayside. So every day, Bartimaeus is sitting by this wayside and he's begging. You know, he's getting his meals, he's getting his clothes, he's getting money, he's getting whatever the world, the people has to offer him. That's a nod for the ones who know. The things that he could attain of the world, he's getting from begging beside the wayside on every day. But then one day, something different happens. Something different happens, family. It says that a multitude passed by him. Okay, let's look at Luke chapter 18 and pick up at verse 35. Same account, family. Bartimaeus sitting there every day and he's begging for the things that he needs. And one day something different happens. A multitude passes by him. And it says in verse 35 of Luke chapter 18, and it came to pass that as he was come nigh unto Jericho, a certain blind man, Bartimaeus, sat by the wayside begging. And hearing the multitude pass by, he asked what it meant. So this multitude, when it passed by, it was so abnormal to Bartimaeus. He wasn't even thinking about begging at that particular time. He's saying, what's going on? What is this passing before me? Because remember, Bartimaeus is blind, so he can't see what's going on, but he can hear a loud commotion or a loud distraction for the ones who already know. Hear a loud commotion from the multitude that was around him. And so he asked what it meant. And in verse 37, it says, and they told him that Yahusha of Nazareth passed by. So look, right off the bat, this day ain't like no ordinary day. This day not like any ordinary day, because it says that the multitude passed by. He wanted to know what it meant. And they told him that Yahusha, the king, the Messiah, was passing by. Watch what Bartimaeus does in verse 38. It says, and he cried, saying, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Look at that, fam. I want you to really take a look at that, because here's a blind man who's made his living, who's got his substance from being by the wayside, begging. But when they told him that Yahusha was passing by, it said that he cried, saying, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Now, once Bartimaeus knew that it was Yahusha passing by, all of a sudden, he wasn't begging for things of the world anymore. He wasn't begging for things of the world anymore. He wasn't begging for physical things anymore. This was different. This day was different. See, Bartimaeus is not crying out for food. He's not asking for no garments. He's not asking for money. He's not asking for a place to stay. He's not asking for a blanket. It says that Bartimaeus, take note, he didn't even cry out for healing. He said, have mercy on me. He said, have mercy on me. Verse 39. And they which went before rebuked him, that he should hold his peace. Family, the title of today's message is Hold Your Peace. They told him, look, you need to hold your peace. It says, but he cried so much the more, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Now, I mentioned earlier, family, to make note that there was a multitude that was surrounding Yahusha and his disciples. There was a multitude that was accompanying him. And when Bartimaeus cried out, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me, they told Bartimaeus to hold your peace. Now, I wonder why when Bartimaeus was begging, when he was asking for food, they won't tell him Bartimaeus to hold his peace. When he was asking for clothes, they won't tell him Bartimaeus to hold his peace. When he was just looking for somewhere to lay his head, they won't tell him Bartimaeus to hold his peace. When he asked them if they had just a little change that they could put in this cup, you got a couple of coins you could drop in this cup. They helped Bartimaeus out. They didn't tell Bartimaeus to hold his peace. But the moment that Bartimaeus cried out for mercy, they told Bartimaeus, hold your peace. But Bartimaeus is like, no, this is my shot. This is my shot. This may be the only opportunity that I have. So Bartimaeus wasn't trying to hear it. And Bartimaeus, it said that he cried out even more, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Bartimaeus is saying, look, this day is different. There's something different about the one that's passing me by here. I mean, if I can just get in good standings with him, I can be made whole. But the multitude was telling Bartimaeus, hold your peace. Hold your peace. But what did Bartimaeus do? Let's look at Mark chapter 10. We're going to pick up at verse 47. What did Bartimaeus do? Because Bartimaeus is like, look, y'all not gonna shut me up today. I'm on a mission. Y'all not gonna shut me up today. And Bartimaeus said in Mark chapter 10, verse 47, I'm gonna go back a verse. It says, and when he heard that it was Yahusha of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me. I just think that it's beautiful, family, that he didn't even cry for healing first. He didn't ask for anything in the physical. The first thing that he asked Yahusha for was mercy. He said, have mercy on me. Verse 48, here goes the multitude. And many charged him that he should hold his peace. But what did Bartimaeus do? He cried the more a great deal, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Verse 49, it says, and Yahusha stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good comfort, be of good comfort. Rise, he calleth thee. Now, Bartimaeus was determined to be healed. Bartimaeus was like, look, I can't let y'all shut me up, and I'm not going to allow y'all to make me miss my opportunity to be made whole. But here's another key point that I meditated on throughout the week. It says, Yahusha called him to him. Now, I touched on it briefly earlier. Notice that Yahusha didn't go to him to heal him. It said that he called. You know, like many are called, few are chosen. He called Bartimaeus. It says that he called him to him. But Bartimaeus was willing to be healed even before Yahusha called him, because he acknowledged Yahusha before Yahusha acknowledged him. And Bartimaeus' cry to Yahusha was, have mercy on me. Which means that Bartimaeus, here's a key point, family. Bartimaeus was already being drawn to Mashiach. Give me John chapter 6, verse 44, Keith. You see, because before Bartimaeus knew what was going on, he heard the commotion. And as the multitude said that Yahusha of Nazareth was passing by, before Yahusha said a word to Bartimaeus, Bartimaeus said, Son of David, have mercy on me. Which tells me that Bartimaeus was already being drawn to Mashiach. In John chapter 6, verse 44, it says that no man can come to me except the Father which have sent me draw him, and I will raise him up in the last day. So something had been placed, family, something had been placed on Bartimaeus' heart that made him want to cry out and made him want to be drawn to Mashiach. And Mashiach recognized that. And Mashiach put him up to the test. Mashiach said, bring him to me. Let's see if he's going to wait for me to come to him. Or let's see if he's going to get up and go get his healing. So Bartimaeus was drawn to Mashiach. And Mashiach calls Bartimaeus. And what y'all think Bartimaeus did? Let's do back in Mark, Aki. Pick up at chapter 10. We're going to look at verse 49. What y'all think Bartimaeus did when Mashiach called him? In the book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 49, it says, and Yahusha stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good comfort. Rise, he calleth thee. Verse 50, I like this verse. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Yahusha. So I asked y'all earlier, what do you think that Barnabas did? You see, Barnabas didn't soak in his infirmity. Barnabas didn't say, you know what, I'm blind, woe is me. He's going to have to come to me and heal me. If I'm going to be healed, he's going to come and heal me. No. See, it says that Bartimaeus rose and he came to Yahusha. But I need you to highlight this, Aki, because this right here, it was heavy when the Most High showed me this, and I want to show it to you all. Verse 50, it said, he casting away his garment. He casting away his garment. Now, why did he have to cast away his garment to go to Mashiach to be healed? Why did he have to cast away his garment? But the text, it makes a point to tell us that he casted away his garment. That's right. It was hindering him. But I wonder why that garment was hindering him. I wonder why it was hindering him. Verse 51, it says, and Yahusha answered and said unto him, what wilt thou that I should do unto thee? The blind man said unto him, Master, that I might receive my sight. And Yahusha said unto him, go thy way, thy faith has made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Yahusha in the way. Now, family, I'm going to go ahead and point something out to you. Yahusha knew that he could heal Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus was in need of a lot of things because, see, he was blind and by the wayside begging. But when he called Bartimaeus and Bartimaeus came to him, the king's question to him is, What do you want me to do to you? What is it that you want of me? What is it that you want of me? And you see, Bartimaeus, he could have asked for a lot of things. He could have asked for a lot of things. He could have asked the king, just have your disciples drop something in my bag. Just drop a little something in my bag for when I get hungry. He could have asked the king, hey, do you have any bread? You got any bread? You got any fish? I heard about the miracle that you did. Can you do it? Can you work a miracle for me so I can have a feast? Bartimaeus could have asked for clothes. He could have asked for raiment. He could have asked for somebody to take him so he could have a place to stay. But Bartimaeus said that I might receive my sight. That's what I want you to do for me, King. I want you to heal my sight. And it says, Yahusha said unto him, go thy way, thy faith has made thee whole. Thy faith has made thee whole. So let's touch on this whole for a second, family. Let's touch on this word whole. This word whole here means complete. It means complete. Now, I'm sure even if he healed Bartimaeus' eyes, Bartimaeus had some other type of imperfection because none of us are physically perfect. All of us have some imperfections somewhere. And I can't wrap my mind around the fact that the king telling Bartimaeus him being made whole had something solely to do with his eyes. I can't imagine that. And what leads me to believe that, family, is not just what I'm seeing here, and not just what I'm imagining, but the fact that Bartimaeus' first cry to Mashiach was, have mercy on me. His first cry wasn't to heal me. He said, have mercy on me. So Bartimaeus receives the sight. Mashiach, he performs a miracle. And not only does he receive his sight, it says that Mashiach made him whole. He was made whole. And not only was he made whole, he started to follow Mashiach in the way. That's a nod to the ones who know. He started following Mashiach in the way. And not only did he follow Mashiach in the way, Aki, let's look at the book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 43. Because not only was Bartimaeus' sight healed, not only did he was he made whole, not only did he begin to follow Mashiach in the way, but verse 43 of Luke chapter 18, it says, and immediately he received his sight and followed him, esteeming or glorifying Elohim. Highlight glorifying Elohim. It says that he began to glorify Elohim, and all the people, when they saw it, gave praise unto Elohim. So he began to glorify the Most High, and Yah began to get the praise and the honor of all the people. Ain't that amazing, family? Ain't that amazing that the Most High took a blind man and he worked a miracle through his son on this blind man for him to be esteemed, and they recognize that and start to esteem the Most High? If you think that's amazing, put a hallelujah in the chat, because that's a praise moment right there, family. That's a praise moment right there. You see, sometimes when our back is up against the wall and we can't see a way out, the Most High got us right where He wants us. He got us right where He wants us. He has us in a position where we can't see our way. Blind man, we can't see our way out of it. Just so when He brings us out of it, we know that He brought us out of it. All esteem and all glory goes to the Most High Yah. Now, family, you know how I like to do it. I said that the Most High was showing me some things. And so we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up, but I'm not going to cut you short just yet. We're going to break this thing down, Ms. Picard. We're going to break this thing down a little bit deeper, because see, this passage about this blind man, Bartimaeus, this passage is much, much deeper than just a blind man being healed. It's much deeper than just a blind man being healed. And I've heard people preach on this in the past. I've read over it. I gave the Most High praise because we saw a blind man healed. But it wasn't until I started studying this passage out this time that the Most High showed me what this passage is actually about. Let's hit some key points and some precepts. All right. Let's talk about this man Bartimaeus. Now, I said earlier, Bartimaeus means son of Timaeus. All right, and the Greeks love to put an S on the end of every word for whatever reason, but that would be the son of Timaeus. All right, the blindness of Bartimaeus or the son of Timaeus represents the blindness and the healing of the nation of Israel. It represents it's this account is recorded to represent the blindness and the healing of our nation. Now, I'm gonna show it to you. This word Bartimaeus, this name Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus. That word Timaeus is Timea, and it actually means uncleanness or defiled. So the origin and the root of Bartimaeus' name actually means son of the unclean or son of the defiled. It look, it don't take a whole lot to go and find that one. You can study that one out for your own. A simple Strong's number, simple Strong's number will let you know what Bartimaeus means. But his name means son of the defiled. And the story of Bartimaeus is a passage that shows us how the sons and daughters of Yah became unclean or defiled through blindness. So let me prove that out to you before I get ready to go, family. Let's look at Exodus chapter 4 and pick up at verse 22. In Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, you know, that word Bartimaeus actually means son. And so let's see who the son of the Most High is. And we know that the king, Mashiach, is the only begotten or the beloved son of the Most High. But let's see what the Most High says in Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. It says, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yah, who is Yah's son? I don't look, don't take my word for it, because y'all gonna leave here, y'all gonna say Netanel, he putting a 10 on a 2 when he breaking down this passage in Matthew 20, but put it in the chat. According to Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, who is Yah's son? That's right. That's right. I don't have to say it. It's in the text. Now, we know that, and we love to show that. We love to say, hey, we're bloodline descendants and we're the children of the Most High. But let me show you what happened to this son. All right, let's do Isaiah chapter 42, verse 19. And let's look at what happened to this son. Not my words. Let's see what the Most High said. It said, who is blind? Now in Matthew 20, back in the book of Mark, we were just looking at it, Mark 10, who was blind? It was old Bartimaeus, right? The son of the defiled. He was the blind beggar sitting by the wayside begging. But verse 19 of Isaiah 42 said, who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as Yah's servant? Who y'all think that it's talking about? Who y'all think that it's talking about right here? Who do you think that the servant of the Most High is? It's talking about the same ones that we just looked at in Exodus. It's talking about Israel. And he's saying, look, the ones who are supposed to be perfect, the ones who I've shown the way, the ones who I've given my instructions to, the one who I've shown my power, the ones who I've shown them time and time and time again that I am a protector, that I am a provider, that I am their shepherd, that I am their leader, the ones that are supposed to be perfected in their understanding of me and my ways, there's nobody as blind as them. There's nobody as blind as them. And I was listening to my aunt do a lesson the other day, and we were talking about what's going on with the Olympics. And it's not a coincidence that they are putting our people at the forefront of what is actually a wicked pagan ceremony. It's not a coincidence, man. It's not a coincidence that the music that our people make demean us as a nation. And it teaches us how to demean our women. It teaches us how to have a lifestyle of materialistic things. The things that we see on TV and the way that they portray us, it's not a coincidence that it all leads us to our own demise, our own destruction, and it contributes to our blindness of who we are supposed to be to the Most High Yah. That's not a coincidence. And what it ends up doing, family, it ends up making us blind. It ends up making us blind. And what I realized through this study is blindness is not a condition of the eyes. Blindness is a condition of the heart. I'm going to say that again. Blindness is not a condition of the eyes. You see, right here in Isaiah 42:19, Yah is not talking about their eyes being dim. He's talking about the condition of their hearts. And so these people, this nation, the son, had become sons of the defiled. They had become Bartimaeus. They had become sons of the unclean. And it was the things that were in their hearts. It's the things that are in our hearts that causes us to be unclean, and it causes us to be defiled. But here's a fact, family. Nothing unclean can dwell in the presence of the Most High Yah. Nothing unclean can dwell in the presence of the Most High Yah. So we have been, and if we do not repent, we will continue to be Bartimaeus. Not just a figure of what we see in the text. We are Bartimaeus. Not just a figure of what we see in the text, but we are sons of the defiled. And because of the hearts of the sons of Israel, we became blind, just like Bartimaeus. But let's look at this blindness. Go ahead. Aki done put it in the chat. He done threw y'all the nugget. He threw y'all the life jacket already. Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's look at this blindness being a matter of the heart and not a matter of the eyes. Go to Ephesians chapter 4. Let's pick up at verse 17. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17, it teaches us about this blindness. It says, "This I say, therefore, and testify in the Master, that ye henceforth walk not as the heathens walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of Elohim." So when your heart is blind, family, and your understanding is darkened, you become alienated from the Most High. And that's why I said, see, uncleanliness or being defiled will cause you not to be able to be in the presence of the Most High. It says through ignorance that is in them because of the, highlight this, Aki, blindness of their heart. You see, blindness has nothing to do with our eyes. You can lose your sight today and still walk in Torah and keep faith. Blindness don't have anything to do with these two things that's sitting on the side of your nose. Blindness is an issue of the heart. Verse 19, it says, "Who being past feeling," that word, that phrase past feeling means that they're comfortable. They don't feel any remorse. They don't feel anything wrong with what they do. And when somebody is in a life of sin and they're blind to the way of the Most High and they're alienated away from the Most High, and they're separated from the Most High, they are comfortable in their sin and they are past feeling. They become complacent in their sin. But you see, Bartimaeus, he wasn't complacent in just begging by the wayside. Remember when Mashiach began to walk by and he realized there was Mashiach, he didn't just ask for something that was going to leave him there having to beg the next person. He says, "Look, have mercy on me." I'm going to read verse 19 again. "Who being past feeling," which means comfortable in their sin, no remorse, "have given themselves over to lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness." You see that uncleanness in there? Bartimaeus, son of the unclean. Bartimaeus, blind man. Israel, blind nation. Us, me and you, blind sinners, if we don't repent. Verse 20, "But ye have not so learned Mashiach." You didn't learn that from Mashiach. Mashiach didn't teach us how to live our lives carefree and just continue to sin and just be comfortable in our sin. That's not something that we learn from the Shia. Verse 21, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahusha, that ye put off concerning the former conversation of the old man. Somebody put it in the chat. What did Bartimaeus do when he realized that Yahusha was calling him to him? Before he came to Yahusha, somebody put it in the chat. What did Bartimaeus do? It said that Bartimaeus cast away his garment. That's right. He put off his garment. He cast away that garment, family. We're gonna break that garment down in just a second too. But it says that ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. He's saying, put off your garment so you can receive your sight. Put off your garment so you can receive what's darkened in your heart and is causing you to be ignorant of understanding and causing you to be alienated from the Most High. Put off that garment. Put that off and learn of Mashiach so you can be renewed in your mind and renewed in your ruach, which means so you can have your sight. You see, Bartimaeus, he was willing to be made whole. And so he cried out for healing, but the multitude told him, hold your peace. The multitude told him, hold your peace. When he was begging, it was all good. When he was seeking the things of the world, the things of the flesh, it was all good. Nobody shushed him. Nobody told him to bite his tongue. Nobody said, put your hand over your mouth. Nobody did any of that. But the moment that he sought out to be made whole, the world said, Bartimaeus, Israel, Netnail, you hold your peace. And I'm gonna tell you, family, that hold your peace is being comfortable in your own sins. It's being comfortable in your own sins. And it's being comfortable with not focusing on things that will take you to the next level, but continuing to hold on to the things that are holding you back. You see, to hold your peace means for you to have no desire to be made whole, none whatsoever. No care in the world about being whole. No care in the world about receiving your sight. No care in the world about being restored to the position that the Most High Yah has called you to be. Holding your peace is actually just telling you be comfortable with begging by the wayside. Because see, Bartimaeus, he was begging by the wayside. So when the world is offering you things that's getting in the way of us getting closer or getting back and getting reconciled with the Most High, when the world is offering us things that is going to hold us back from getting closer to the Mashiach, when the world is offering us things that's dragging our attention away from getting in the Word, when the world is offering us things to keep us from walking this thing out, when it's throwing us all type of distractions that are keeping us from focusing on our salvation and focusing on being made whole, the world, that multitude is telling you, family, hold your peace. It's saying, look, son of the defiled, you just hold your peace. It's all good. We're going to sustain you. We're going to let you can beg by the wayside. You can beg by the wayside. We're going to give you your food. We're going to give you some entertainment. We're going to give you your TV show. We're going to give you 2 or 3 women. We're going to give you things to smoke on. We're going to give you things to drink on. We're going to sustain everything you need. You just hold your peace. It's okay if you need a little something. You come to the world is going to give you what it is that you want. But when it comes to you trying to receive your sight, that multitude, that world family is telling you, hold your peace. Hold your peace. Just keep begging by the wayside. Begging by the wayside. Looking for whatever the multitude has to offer you. That's begging. Looking for whatever the world is willing to offer you by the wayside. But let me talk about that wayside for a minute. Let's do Matthew chapter 13, verse 15, Aki. Let's talk about that wayside. Because see, I'm telling you, this passage is so much deeper than just a blind man on the side of the highway begging to receive his sight. This passage is about you. Family, Mashiach was doing miracles in the physical to demonstrate what needed to be done to his people or for his people in the spiritual in order for them to be made whole. Matthew chapter 13, let's look at verse 15. It says, "For this people's heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed." What y'all think that means? If their eyes they have closed, if they've closed their eyes, you think you can see with your eyes closed? It says, least at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand their heart and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Yes, for they hear. Drop down to verse 18. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, the world, or the multitude, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received the seed by the wayside. See, family, when we going on in this world, just receiving, begging, taking whatever the world has to offer us, we just by the wayside begging. And you see, Bartimaeus, he knew of Mashiach because the multitude told him that it was Yahusha of Nazareth. He said, "O son of David, have mercy on me," which means that something had been put in Bartimaeus' heart. Something had been given to the nation of Israel before they were blind. But it was the blindness of their heart that caused them to go astray. See, Bartimaeus this whole time was by the wayside begging. And Israel, because of our going astray, but because of our being led astray, but because of our indoctrination, we've been living generations by the wayside begging and just letting the enemy take away what had been sown in our heart. And family, I'm trying not to keep this. I'm trying to keep this a study and not a message, but this is just what I've been chewing on all week. If you just hold your peace, if you just around here holding your peace instead of crying out and coming to the King, you become blind in your own heart. You become blind in your own heart and just begging on the wayside for whatever it is that the world has to offer you. And you got to be willing to do what Bartimaeus did in Mark chapter 10, verse 50, IQ. You got to be willing to do what Bartimaeus did in Mark chapter 10, verse 50. It said that Bartimaeus casted away his garment and rose and came to the King. He casted away his garment. See, we got to decide for ourselves whether we're going to hold our peace or cast away our garments. Whether we're going to hold our peace, whether we're just going to accept what the multitude has to offer us and hold our peace, or whether we're going to be willing to cast away our garment and come to the King. But it says that Bartimaeus casted away his garment. And family, that casting away of the garment that's in the text, it represents the son of the unclean or the son of the defiled, Bartimaeus, Israel. It represents casting away your sins and repent. I saw my IQ already threw it in the chat. Give me Zechariah chapter 3, verse 4. Because in Zechariah chapter 3, verse 4, Zechariah is given a vision of the high priest. And Hasatan was accusing the high priest because his garments were unclean. Now, that garment being unclean represented that high priest had some sin. And Hasatan was saying, hey, he's making a mockery saying this priest is not fit to be a high priest because he has sin on his garment. And in Zechariah chapter 3, verse 4, it says, "And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away thy filthy garments from him." Bartimaeus cast away his garments, family. It says, "Take away thy filthy garments from him." Excuse me, the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, "Behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment." The multitude was telling Bartimaeus to hold your peace. And the world is telling you every day, family, just continue to focus on the physical things. When Bartimaeus was focused on the physical things, they won't bother him, Bartimaeus. But when Bartimaeus began to desire to be healed. They told him, hold your peace. The world wants you to hold your peace. And the distractions of this world is meant to make you hold your peace. But the question today is, will you be like Bartimaeus? Will you be like the son of the defiled or the son of the unclean? You see, Bartimaeus understood that he had to cast away his old garment. If he wanted to be made whole, he had to cast away that thing that was keeping him from being made whole. He knew, like, this is the king. This is the one that could change my whole life. If I want him to heal me, I need to get rid of this filthy garment so I can receive my sight. And so I just want to know if it's anybody that feel like Bartimaeus. Is it anybody out there who feels like they are willing to cast away their filthy garments so they can be made whole? The king is ready and willing, family. Mashiach, he's ready, he's willing. But what we have to understand was he didn't walk up to Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus acknowledged him, and then he called. See, Bartimaeus had to answer that call. And I realized, family, that what 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 we have to do is we can't get so caught up in that come as you are mentality. Me and my ox were talking about this just last night. We can't get caught up in that come as you are or he knows my heart mentality. He said, look, bring him to me, call him to me. Bartimaeus put that garment away. Bartimaeus chose for himself right then, I want something spiritual. I'm tired of what the world has to offer me. And everything that the world has to offer us is just leading us to destruction. The king is ready and willing. He was ready and willing to heal Bartimaeus. But Bartimaeus had to make a choice. He said, what do you want me to do for you, Bartimaeus? What is it? You got to make a choice. And so many times, people, family, they pray, they ask, they won't ask Yah, but they ask uh God or they ask JC for physical blessings. They ask for the physical things. And guess what? Sometimes the thing that they pray for and they ask for, they get it. But they never consider the things of the spiritual that they need to be made whole. And so they're gonna live a life acquiring things of the physical. And when it's all said and done, they didn't store up any treasures in the kingdom. And the whole time, Mashiach was right there, ready and willing to make them whole, but they refused to make a choice. They refused to pick a side. I keep Revelation chapter 3, verse 16. The king stands before us just like he stood before Bartimaeus. He's standing before Israel. He's saying, look, I've come this far. I've come this far. It's intentional that I'm walking past you. It's intentional that this multitude is making all of this noise trying to distract you because I'm standing here in front of you and I'm asking you, what do you want? What would you want for me to do for you? But we got to make a choice. In Revelation chapter 3, verse 16, it says, so then because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew you out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and highlighted, blind, blind, blind of heart. Blind of heart is what's in the heart that makes us not able to use our sight, not being able to recognize what it's going to take for us to get back to the Most High Yah. But see, Bartimaeus not having the sight of his physical eyes, his heart won't blind. His heart wasn't blind, family. And so Mashiach he's standing here ready and willing for us. In verse 18, it said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment. White raiment. Put off that old garment, put off that sin, get white raiment of me, that raiment of righteousness, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And he says, and anoint thine eyes with eyesight, that thou mayest see. Family, we have to make a choice today, right now. And I'm telling you, the Most High, he's been tugging at my heart to speak to my people. And I'm not preaching to the choir here because I know many of you, the vast majority of you on this call are sincerely trying to walk this thing out. But this message is going to go out. It's going to be recorded. And the Most High has been tugging it on my heart to reach my people, old, young, male, female, um, successful, convicted felons, whatever it may be. Our King is standing ready and willing. He said, look, put eye salve on your eyes that you may see. Cry out for healing. O son of David, have mercy on me. Because see, the King, he's waiting to make us whole. But I'm gonna give you a couple more precepts and I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. We have to make a choice willingly. We can't be waiting for the King to come to us. We have to cry out, and then once he calls, we have to answer the call. Let's do First Chronicles chapter 28, verse 9. We have to be willing in this thing. The Most High is not forcing this thing on anybody. Mashiach was not forcing healing on Bartimaeus. He's not forcing healing on the sons of the file, which is the nation of his people, which is Israel. He's not forcing it on anybody. He says, look, what is it that you want me to do for you? What are we going to pray for today? We're going to pray for the things of the world. We're going to keep begging by the wayside, or we're going to cry out for mercy so that we can be healed. In verse 9, it says, know thou the Elohim of thy father and serve him with a perfect heart, with a willing mind. We got to have a willing mind. For Yah search of all hearts and understandeth all the imaginations of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. We got to continue to seek him willingly. And so those things that the world is offering, telling you, hold your peace. Don't cry out to be saved. Don't cry out for your salvation. Don't cry out for the Most High to break that yoke that's keeping you bound. Don't cry out for the yoke, for the Most High to break that addiction. Don't cry out for the Most High to lead you away from that fornication. Don't cry out for the things that are keeping you astray and alienated from the Most High. Hold your peace. When the world is telling you that, if we are not deciding to willingly allow the Most High to change our hearts, we're going to be blind forever. And it says that he's going to cast us off forever. But Bartimaeus taught us a valuable lesson, family. He taught us a valuable lesson. And the lesson is in a question. Are you going to hold your peace, or are you going to cast away your garments of sin? Your garments of sin? Are you going to hold your peace, or are you going to cast away these old garments so we can get a garment of righteousness, clean and white? Now, one last thing, family, and I'm going to get out of your way. One last thing. It said that Mashiach, let's go back to Mark, Aki. We'll pick up at chapter 11, verse 1. It said that Mashiach was leaving Jericho when he ran across Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus was doing this thing, begging by the wayside. Mashiach was leaving Jericho. Where do you think Mashiach was going? If the scholars already know, put it in the chat. I'm not going to go deep into it. I'm going to leave this one for my brothers to dig into, because it's also in Matthew chapter 21, but it's right here in Mark chapter 11, verse 1. Mashiach was leaving Jericho, headed to Jerusalem. It says, and when they came nigh to Jerusalem, so he was leaving Jericho, headed to Jerusalem. But not only was he going to Jerusalem, drop down to verse 11, Aki. In verse 11, it says, and Yahusha entered into Jerusalem and into the temple. Mashiach was leaving Jericho, headed to the house. I'm saying something for those who got an ear to hear. He was leaving Jericho, headed into the house of Yah, and he ran across the son of the defiled, or the son of uncleanness, or Bartimaeus, and he healed Bartimaeus' sight. And it said that Bartimaeus received his sight. He was made whole, and he began to follow Mashiach. Somebody put it in the chat. Where did he follow Mashiach to? Where was Mashiach headed? Where did this man who was once blind, the son of the unclean, who didn't have it together, this nation of Israel that were unclean, that didn't have it together, it says that he began to follow Mashiach, and Mashiach was going to Jerusalem, into the house of the Most High. Family, Mashiach is trying to lead every one of us to the house of the Most High. He says, I go and prepare a place for you. He's trying to lead every one of us to the house of the Most High. And see, Bartimaeus had got comfortable holding his peace. Bartimaeus had gotten comfortable sitting by the wayside begging. Bartimaeus had gotten comfortable getting all of the physical things that the multitude or the world had to offer. Bartimaeus, when he made up his mind, this world ain't good enough for me no more. I'm trying to receive my sight and be made whole. And he cried out. It said that Mashiach made him whole. He received his sight and he followed Mashiach. He followed Mashiach right to the house of the Most High Yah. And that, family, is what the passage of Matthew chapter 20, verse 29, is all about. It's all about receiving our sight and being reconciled with our Elohim.